What's going on, Chris? How's everything, man? Test training today, man.
Yeah. This is Wednesday. This is Boxing Rumble. This is kind of our midweek push. This is the work that the people on Fight Night don't really see. Where you got to grind, you got to dig, you got to dig deep. This is rounds 9 and 10 when people are surprised that guys still got another gear.
I'm happy to say, I know you're happy. You're returning November at the Paramount. What's the feeling like, Chris?
Feels great. It feels great to be back. I feel like I never left, but it's not the same when you're not stepping through those ropes. I've spent a lot of time on the outside of the ring, seeing my peers and brethren go out there and win big fights, win world titles. Training and dropping sweat and blood right next to these guys, but they get the glory. And at the end of the day, that's why we're all here. We all want to be champion. We all want to push ourselves and show the world what we do. Working hard is great, but if people don't see the end result, it leaves a gap.
What do you call this chapter of your career? Is this like the first half of your career, second half of your career, last quarter of your career? What would you phrase this one?
It's definitely a new chapter.
Okay.
I'm going to be. It's a different look. I think the first chapter of my career. I think the first chapter of my career was just kind of fighting grassroots, in my neighborhood, in my hometown, and just trying to fight anybody. Ron Katz was my matchmaker for Star Boxing. He always said I was the easiest guy to bring up because I said yes to everybody. How about this guy? Tough guy from wherever? Sure. How about this guy? Sure. Southpaw? It doesn't matter. I fought everybody. And I was really yelling from the rafters for anyone to come and see me fight because no one was going to believe that some kid from Long Island could fight the way I could fight. So I was trying to push to get as much exposure as possible. And then I think the next chapter of my career was my run, was my title run, and becoming a world champion and realizing my dream, getting some of the biggest fights out there, fighting the toughest guys in the sport. And this is just going to be another chapter. I'm going to make another run, and I'm starting right where I started the first time.
What made you stay with promotions at this moment?
It's one of those things where, stuff takes time. And boxing is going to be around way longer than me. And these promotional companies and these networks, they're going to be around longer than me as well. So I'm an athlete. I have a finite window in order to get done what I plan to get done. So it was time to stop wasting money, stop wasting time, stop wasting my talent, and to get back out there by any means necessary.
Yeah, you're technically undefeated at 140. Is there any specific motivations why you're going back to 140? Is there any names you want to?
Honestly, I never wanted to leave 140.
Okay.
I won my world title there. It wasn't like I grew out of the weight class and wanted to move up. I just had opportunities that came to me, and I've always been a guy that understood. If I knew nothing about boxing, I knew that the opportunities were few and far between. So when they presented themselves to me, I jumped at every single one of them, which we all have seen. It's public. So those opportunities came, and they came in the weight class that what didn't best serve me. I made do and went out there and gave it my all. But now it's like I said, this is a new chapter in my career. I've got to be smarter.
Of course.
I'm older and wiser, so I'm going to be a lot more calculated when it comes to the fights that we take and the route that we go from here on out. And 140 has always been a weight class that serves me much better.
Yeah, you talked about making the right decisions, calculating time. With the opportunity being presented, let's say the names, thinking of my top of my head, Jose Ramirez, sorry about that, Adrian Broner, Jorge Linares, Regis Prograis, are those any names that interest you?
So many great fights.
Okay.
So many great fights right now. I've always been a guy who's been kind of a title chaser.
Yeah.
I want the guys who have the titles. I've never picked a fight. I've never said I want to fight this guy and end up happening. Even in my mind, I was like, I want to fight this guy. It never really happened. Amir Khan was a guy that I pictured myself fighting, but I also pictured myself fighting Algeri De La Hoya.
Yeah.
So it's not kind of that. It's not so much I've ever really picked who I want to fight. But the landscape of the sport changes constantly, especially in these divisions that are so competitive.
Yeah.
So who knows who's going to have the title when it's time for me to make my run or when I have my opportunity. So we'll just see who's there when the dust settles, and as I get back into the elite class.
There you go. Let's talk about Adrian Broner. Now that I mentioned Adrian Broner, he's fighting Pacquiao. Mm-hmm. My question to you is, does Pacquiao kind of remind you that it might be the same result when Broner fought Maidana in terms of the power? Do you see that? Or do you foreshadow that?
I foreshadow Pacquiao winning the fight. I think he still has enough. And I was there live in Malaysia when I saw him fight Lucas Matisse, and a lot of people were like, oh, Matisse just didn't fight. I don't agree with that. I was there, I saw it. Matisse was trying, he just couldn't get anything going. Pacquiao was very good at shutting him down offensively, countering him really well, and making him very, very tentative. And one thing Pacquiao still got is power. That's one of the last things to go. His hand speed was still good. His foot speed's not exactly the same. He's a lot more flat-footed. He was walking Matisse down. But I think with Broner, there's not that size advantage that guys usually have on Pacquiao. They're going to be about the same size. I think Pacquiao might even be a little bit bigger than him. So I think he can stand there in front of him and still be in the fight and just pick his shots like only Pacquiao can.
So you're favoring Pacquiao in this one, right?
Yeah, I would lean towards Pacquiao in that fight.
And then also Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia is about to be officially announced. We have Richard Comey here. I think he's around here. He was supposed to fight Richard Comey. Now he's fighting Spence.
Yeah.
How dangerous is that fight for Mikey, moving up possibly 2 weight classes?
Listen, man, I tip my hat to the guy. It's a huge risk, but that's what makes greats. Like guys jumping up weight classes. Sugar Ray Robinson did it. He jumped up 2 weight classes to fight. Who was that? Joey Maxim jumped. Who did? Yeah, I think it was Andre. Who did Sugar Ray Robinson jump up to fight at light heavyweight? Joey Maxim?
Yeah.
Joey Maxim, right. So he jumped up 2 weight classes to fight the light heavyweight champion. He weighed like under the middleweight limit, so, and he's one of the best fighters that's ever lived, So taking these risks is part of what we're doing here, it's legacy. So I tip my hat in that case, but in terms of how that fight's going to go, I can't see it not going Spence's way. If a good big man fights a smaller a good man, great, then the bigger man is usually going to win. He's got that advantage.
Do you feel that regardless if Mikey loses, he gets knocked down, but he finds a way to expose Spence even more? Do you feel like more of these welterweights at 147 that used to campaign at will be open to fight Spence, the Porters of the world, the Thurmans of the world, the Crawfords?
Hopefully. But I agree with Coach. I don't think anybody's beating Errol Spence.
Not even Thurman?
No.
Okay.
I don't think those guys are beating him right now. He's a young, hungry lion. He's got a tremendous amount of momentum. Momentum's a big deal in this sport. He hasn't taken a lot of damage so far. He's a relatively fresh, young champion. So I think that'll probably be the best thing to happen to Spence is that he has a little bit of an off night and looks vulnerable somewhat, because then maybe these guys will take those fights and he'll be able to match up with the other champs.
How would you compare and contrast the powers of Spence and Pacquiao?
Different. I get asked about power a lot with fighters. It's so hard to compare to people. To explain it to people who haven't been hit at that level. It's different. Some guys have like a certain kind of like pop to it that's explosive. Other guys have thudding power that just doesn't matter where it hits you, it hurts you. They definitely have very different power. Pacquiao's power comes from speed, and he's got like heavy hands. Like they're pop. He's got like real pop to his shots, where it's kind of jarring. Where Spence has got like heavy thudding, but also really sharp technique. So it's just very different. It's hard to explain.
For this fight specifically, what new arsenals or maybe something we haven't seen in you in your last fights are you trying to bring out November at the Paramount?
No, a lot of it. I'm trying to go back to what always worked for me. My lateral movement. Using sharp jabs up and down. Good defense. Nice shoulder rhythm. Head movement level changes in and out. Counters from the outside. And getting back to good body work, which I was always actually a very good body puncher coming up. And I think that that's something that we've been working on with Andre Razier and my trainer Keith Trimble, who's never left my side. We've been discussing what the game plan is going to be, and that's it. That's me at my best. My last couple fights, I had a knee injury that I was dealing with. It really hurt my lateral movement, and it made me much more of a forward aggressive fighter. So I want to get. I feel great now. My movement is excellent again. My footwork, my lateral movement's back. So I want to get back to that. Being a good boxer who can, who's sharp and uses a jab.
There you go. Thank you for your time, Chris Algeri. I know you're a busy man, but hope to see you soon. We'll definitely see you at the Paramount, man. Good luck with everything.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.